Engine 1, Engine 4, Truck 2, Truck 10, Ambulance 82, Battalion 2, Fire 1020 North Main, help is on the way.
Go back up for the backup. Let's see what's going on here.
Great.
All right.
Something's not right here.
Something's not right.
I think I heard that before.
Should be, yeah.
Did she shrink it?
Oh, all right. Looks like it's going. It's just really small. Blow it up a little bit.
Been there also.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
I was in the pool.
All right, Corey, speak for yourself.
Either way,
that being said,
there's a brand new SD card in the roadcast.
welcome back to Chicago's Bravest Stories. Sorry about the long absence due to COVID symptoms and actual COVID sickness. So every time one person gets better, the other person gets COVID, and so on and so forth.
And once again, the healthiest man in the room, Corey. How you guys
are you talking
doing?
about?
I'll smoke one right now in front of you guys. I think it's giving me health.
Yeah.
I heard
You got whooping cough every other day.
Dude,
what are you
I heard that Marlboro Lights actually kill COVID when you inhale it straight down. Kills it right down the side.
We were very worried about you with that cough for a very long time. Nobody had a hacking cough in the middle of a pandemic and had taken so many COVID tests before. It was unbelievable.
Never had COVID.
That whiskey will kill it.
Yeah, you see? Hey, so, boys. Thanks for coming back, Bill.
Hey.
Well, let's introduce our guests.
Steven, we're so happy to have him here.
Not me, guys.
Well, before we get started, this episode brought to you by Zoll, EMS and Fire. Thank you for sponsoring the show. This show is also sponsored by Sports and Ortho Physical Therapy. You can find them at sportsandortho.net. Steve, you got fixed up by Sports and Ortho, right?
Yeah, man. Middle of the pandemic, they took me in. They healed me up with a shoulder injury that I had going on. Dahlia took special care of me because I had some things going on at home where I did not want to be exposed to this virus, and she took very special care of me. All healed up, and big point here is I did not have to have surgery.
All right.
Did not have to have surgery.
There you go. You heard it. Sportsandortho.net. And in the studio, the one and only Billy, the hitman, Heenan. Thank you so much. And we will get to that because we talked earlier and I forgot to talk to you about it. So we'll talk about it on the air. But thank you so much for coming in here. We appreciate it. And thank you for your 35 years. You're newly retired.
Yep, that is
So
correct.
moving on to your next phase. But let's take us back to how it all started, Billy.
Well, was born and raised in the city. Graduated public school.
Down south, right?
Yeah, down south.
Where'd you go to school?
Hubbard High School.
Okay.
Yep. Graduated high school. Was already working with my dad, who ran a trucking company. My dad was very into you're gonna work.
Yeah.
I mean, good, strong work ethic. Which at the time, me and my brother were like, oh, our friends are hanging out and we're working.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Dad, I want to smoke pot like my buddies.
Yeah, they're all playing basketball and we're going to work. But anyway, we started young, early working, and got a little taste of making money. And then when I graduated high school, like I said, it was just my dad working in the family back then. My mom stayed home, raised us three knuckleheads, and there wasn't really no money for college. He's just like, you want to go? You got to go to local college or whatever.
Right.
That wasn't part of my bag.
And like growing up too,
It was different back then.
Well, speaking of playing basketball, like where'd you grow up? What would you call that neighborhood now in Chicago?
Well, when I first from 1 through 5, I grew up right next to Ancient 50's house at 50th and Union.
Okay.
So then things changed.
We can call that Inglewood.
Yeah. And all my relatives lived in Inglewood at the time. They're all 55th and Ashland, Halsted, mostly on Halsted over there. Union. I grew up on 50th and Union. So
What was that neighborhood growing up back then?
it was. I remember going in 50's house when they opened the pool. We were the first ones in the pool. So I remember that. And then, like I said, I went to Sherman School right there for kindergarten. And then things changed drastically. And we moved further west to like 51st and Kedzie.
Oh, did the neighborhood change when you were there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it changed.
really?
Yeah, big time. Yep.
And that's back in the 60s, right, you said?
Yeah, we left there in 67.
Okay.
Yeah, 68, right around a snowstorm. I remember the snowstorm. We were little kids, but we went further west, and I grew up there for 25 years. And then my parents ended up moving out to the suburbs after that.
And when your pop was working, like you said you're driving trucks, like you guys were a lot of in and out of the docks over there on the south side.
He was working 2 jobs. He was working for a place called Groceryland way back then. It was a food store like Dominic's and all that, you know.
Yeah,
and then they went out of business, and he was working at night at another dock running a small trucking company. And that's where me and my brother learned how to work on a dock and drive forklifts and do all kinds of crazy stuff, you know.
Swear and...
Oh yeah, swear and yeah.
Smoke and drink. Yeah. Kind of come full circle if you think.
Like I said, at the time you're thinking, oh, why am I doing this? My friends are all hanging out, and what am I? I'm loading trucks.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know we talked about it before. Like it's nuts because like just driving those trucks, man. Like I think we all grew up like we at least like got to learn how to drive like manual cars.
Yeah.
And I remember,
Do you know how to drive a manual?
No, absolutely not.
No?
Nope.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
Kids.
I can drive
these kids.
Kids these
manual
days.
ATV, manual tractor. I've actually really never...
Do you know how to ride a motorcycle?
Yes.
Then you can, if you know how to ride a motorcycle, you can drive a manual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Right.
Anyway, well,
But
you know,
like
back
it's
to
not-
us.
Hey, listen,
back to the men.
My math teacher told me I'm not always going to have a calculator with me all the time, and she was fucking wrong. So.
That's fair.
Right.
That's
Show
a good
how much she
analogy.
knows.
Yeah.
So once I graduated, I went full time with my dad, and I had gotten a D license back then, which was a CDL now.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah.
I started driving right away.
Just what were you, 17, 18 years old?
18 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had to be 18. I got a D license, started driving, and ended up getting called by a friend saying they were taking this. So I graduated in 81, started driving a truck in 83.
Okay.
A test was in 85. So a buddy of mine called me up and said, hey, we're going to go sign up for the fire test, you know. And at the time, I wanted to be a cop. I was waiting for the cop test.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, I'll go. I'll sign up, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back then,
I'll be a fireman for a little
The
bit.
cops were able to be cops back then.
Yes. Yeah.
I could see the
police
appeal.
were the police,
I could
right.
see the appeal.
So anyway,
You definitely could have rocked the goatee if you had doing the cat. Could have been like a tech guy or something.
Yeah, he's a narc.
So-
Billy looks like a narc right now.
Oh.
yeah, so the next thing I know, I get a letter in the mail saying, hey, you're like 400 and something on the list. I'm like, is that? So I all my buddies.
Out
are
of
like,
what?
Yeah, out of like, I don't know, 18,000 or some crazy ass number, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I'm thinking I'm missing a digit on this thing. I'm thinking it's like 4,200, right?
Huh.
So I'm like, so you call the city, of course. they
And
don't-
and don't let's just preface this that you had no juice.
no, I
Nothing.
Nobody,
you
nobody in
you
my
had
family.
no family on the job. You didn't know
He was
anybody.
driving truck for 3 years beforehand.
Yeah.
If he had juice, he wouldn't be driving a goddamn truck.
Yeah, right.
Well, a guy with no juice got a legit number.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
So
Every once in a while, it happens.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm showing the letter to my buddies, and like, oh man, you're way ahead of us. And I'm like, all right, I go, this is legit. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they're like, I go to, and the one guy whose family he had a bunch of family on a job. One of my friends is like, listen, man, my dad's telling me they're short 500 firemen. You're going to get called. You know, I'm like, all right, well, let's see what happens, you know. So a year goes by, and now it's 86.
Okay.
And I'm like, people are getting called. I knew a few of my buddies that,
And you've still been working this whole time.
yeah, I'm still working the whole time.
And
Yeah.
college, college wasn't on the
No,
radar. or
no,
nothing.
that was out the window.
Yeah.
it's hard to think about college when you've been driving that truck. Were you making decent
Oh,
money
my
driving
God.
a truck?
Yeah, I took a pay cut when I came on that job.
Yeah.
When I came on the fire department. Yeah.
You're like 20 years old making
Yeah.
serious money, right?
Yeah, I was making good money. Yeah. And
What local was that? Was that a union?
back then it was 703.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were making good money. You know, I mean, it was making really good money compared to some of my friends that were still doing bullshit jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, delivering papers. So-
Papers. 1972. One of my buddies was a blacksmith for
Yeah, so
banging horseshoes on fucking horses.
So next thing I know, some of my friends are starting to get called, and they're like, yeah, they're doing 100 at a time, you know. So I'm trying to figure out what the class back then. The academy was only 3.5 months long,
Right.
so they're doing 2 classes a year easily. So 86
we'll
goes
explain
by.
to everybody that you didn't have to be an EMT or anything like that.
No, none of that
It was just
stuff even
a
mattered.
first responder back then. So
Yeah.
your academy is half of what these guys are going through
It's
right
like
now.
probably like a third probably now. But
Yeah.
anyway, next thing I know, it's like 87, and I get a phone call or a letter from the city, and I think it was March, saying there's going to be a class. Are you still available? You know, that's how they did it back then. You know, there was no emails, none of that bullshit. And
they didn't call your cell phone either.
who could imagine? And I'll tell you something. You could
gotta
imagine
beep.
how many guys moved and never got their letter.
Yeah.
And they didn't track you down. They let you go.
My dad moved. He was off the same list. He took him 9 years though to get called. He had moved us to Arlington Heights. We lived in the city. He moved to Arlington Heights, and he was a diesel mechanic at the time. He was at work, and my mom got certified mail to the house from the city of Chicago for his letter. That's how.
Yeah, mine was
Arlington
certified.
Heights?
You're right. Mine was certified.
Yeah.
But my mom and dad were in the suburbs already too. They moved in 85. That was the year the Bears won the thing. But they moved, and I stayed in the city because I'm thinking they're going to call me right away.
Right.
And
you had a decent enough job where you could do it.
yeah. So I said, yeah, I got the letter, and I'm like, all right. So you respond right away. You know,
Right.
okay, well, of course, and you know how the city is. They give you like a week. The next week, they're like, okay, show up at the academy at 0800 or whatever.
Now that hasn't changed one bit.
Yeah. And if you try to call, you never get an answer out of anybody.
Right.
Again,
'Cause I wanted to give
that
my
hasn't changed.
yeah. And back in the day, you want to give your employer, you know, a 2-week notice.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, they call. I think I got my letter on a Thursday. Report to the academy on Monday. I'm like,
Yes.
yeah. And thank God my boss was cool at my other job. He's like, well, go check it out and you take a couple of vacation days and see what's going on. So that's what I did. I started on August 3rd of 87. I think I was 23 years old.
And how sold, like just walking into the place, walking in the academy, getting going through the initial process, like how sold were you on being a fireman at that point?
I mean, like I said, I had no family on the job, none. So I had no clue what I was in for.
Did you take a beating day one?
You know what? Day one was mostly paperwork and orientation, and you know they give you the hard ass bullshit. You know.
When did you take your beating?
Probably. Probably the next week, because most of a couple of days after that was all paperwork.
Yeah.
And whether you're taking the job or not, all that kind of crap.
All right.
Everybody comes
just
to talk
making
shit.
sure you got the beating though.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Does that beating exist anymore, Vince?
Anyways,
Now like it should. From what I see coming out of the academy. You know what I'm saying? So, but things have changed. Times have changed.
well, taking you back, explain to everybody, because Steve took a very different test to come on the job than you did. Explain the things that you had to do in your test.
So when we knew, give you a back up a little bit, when we knew that the test was coming out, there was some places set up that had, like, what they thought the test was going to be.
Just guys who were like, I think this is going to be on there.
Firemen that were in a job said, hey, this is what we think it's going to be. And so we kind of practiced this, the physical, the obstacle course, the body drag, the hooking up the hydrant. That's what they had you do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they had you do all that stuff, yeah. I put a gate valve on. They had that there. So everything was physical.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
And then you had like just physical portions where it was like like sit ups and like flex arm hangs and all that stuff.
Yeah, the big thing was the hang.
Yeah.
If you did good, that all the firemen told us, listen, the longer you hang, the higher you're going to be on the list. I mean, and we're talking like 10 seconds you could put you up thousands of people.
Yeah.
Because 10 seconds was a long time to be hanging, not in a chin-up position, but a pull-up position.
Right.
And as soon as your arms went straight, you were done. The time was up. And that was controversial because they had different people doing that. So people, yeah, I mean.
It was subjective to whoever was.
Super subjective. I mean, some guys, their arms were straight and they were still getting time. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, Jason, he's been, and that's why it weeded out. Unfortunately, if you were a big football player type dude, the test was not designed for you.
Yeah.
It was designed for like a guy like 155 to 160. Because the obstacle course, you're going through tubes and you're hanging, and big guys ain't going to hang long. That's just the way it was.
Just like runners' bodies. Guys.
Yeah, runner. Yeah, you were just like, yeah. If you
Did
were
you
like
have a run that you had to accomplish? No run?
It was a obstacle course you had to go through 3 times without stopping. Like I said, the hang, the body drag, hooking a hydrant up, and picking up hose and carrying up like a couple flights of stairs in the academy there. Because it was set up in a drill. It was set up in a drill hall.
I was just going to ask you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where it was.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
And so you ended up doing pretty good, obviously. On the
and everybody
physical,
in my
that's-
class was the same weight, between 160 and 170.
Yeah, because we talked about it's pretty crazy, the idea. I mean, the way things are designed now, like it's probably been like that for a long time, right? I mean, if the physical is pass or fail, like it has no bearing on like your standing.
That
in
is
the
crazy
test.
to think that the more physically fit you are, the higher you go up on the list. Or actually, the longer you can hang on a bar,
Yeah, right.
the farther up the list you're going to go.
Which made no sense to me at all.
Yeah. Well,
And here's the thing. I mean, if you were really a strong guy, you were good.
Right.
You know, I mean, but it was if you were too big, it wasn't good.
Right.
And our job is nothing but physical.
Right.
You want guys that are strong. You know what I mean? I mean, not guys that can punch in a computer stuff.
I was just saying,
you know
like
what I mean?
you get some guy, you get a little guy like that's probably killed on that test. Like he puts on the gear that's half his body, a third of his body weight. All of a sudden,
Right,
that guy's
yeah, right.
dragged down a lot harder than.
It was amazing. We're all looking at each other in line, and it was. I'm gonna say there was no fat guys.
Well, luckily, none of us are built like that here.
Yeah.
Billy looked right at you, Corey.
Oh, well, that's fair. That's I get
Or
that.
me, whatever.
That's just the way it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so you got done with that, and did you feel like you did pretty good on that test, or
Well,
no?
I felt pretty good. I ran. I was back then. I was playing hockey 3-4 nights a week, so I felt great.
Yeah.
And the obstacle course, it was like sewer tubes, like plastic tubes.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
like the corrugated.
Yeah. So you had to go through on all four. I mean, if you were small and thin, you were through that thing like a spider monkey. You know what I mean?
I remember my test, and I mean it is what it is, but like I remember taking my test, and it was like before the CPAT stuff, and we had a couple of those things too. You had to climb up an arrow, you had to do like a run or whatever. And I remember
you had a flexed arm hang,
I had
right?
a flex arm hang, yeah, and that was
Oof.
yeah, it sucked. And then I remember, but you know what? That wasn't even the worst part. But I remember
The reading was?
we had reading. Obviously, was going to be. I'm like, I don't think this is in the right language that you guys gave me. No, that's right.
This pamphlet you gave me is in French. No, sir, it's in English.
We
Sit back down.
Sacre bleu. We,
You also got to remember, there was no college kids taking this test. These were kids that were looking for a city
all
job.
blue
Right.
collar.
right, very different.
Blue
than now.
collar.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, no. So we had a sit-up test. I remember there were a whole bunch of like big guys there, like real big
Yeah.
guys, and it was like by partners. And I forgot what it was, but you had to just like I think you just had to get like whatever it was, like we'll say 60 in 2 minutes or something like that. And I remember I was just roasted towards the end, and I started doing the sit-ups, and I had a real fucking dickhead. I can't even remember who it was. Some real dickhead that was like holding my feet, and like I do one, he'd be, you didn't touch your knees to your, you didn't touch your, like, this
Easy
motherfucker.
joke, yeah.
And I'm like, whatever, And I looked over to my right, and there were like these two big guys, like 300 pounds apiece, 350.
Not good
And,
for
like,
them.
No, but well. The one guy's going up, and the other guy counting for him. He's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. And I'm like, God damn it!
He's getting three for one.
I got the B for this. That's count me. Fine, not. You're almost there.
Luck of the draw, Corey.
Yeah,
Luck
look,
of the draw.
look at me now.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. That's right, Lieutenant.
there you go.
Lieutenant Lever.
So you get done with the test. What was the what's it called? Not oral. But like, what was the written test like? Did you guys have a written test?
The
Or?
written test was ridiculous.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
Crayon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bad, huh?
Yeah, it was just. You read a page.
Right.
The next page you had a question on it. You can go back to the page and see the answer.
Right.
So I mean,
Right.
it was just that was a pass or fail thing. I think I don't even know how that worked.
That's fine because it's totally opposite now.
Everything
Totally opposite
was ranked on your physical. How
Yeah.
you did. All your times were calculated. That's where you landed on the list.
Wow.
I mean, ironically, you almost wonder if it should go back to that. Yeah.
So
I'm trying to be nice.
Gentlemen.
So you get through no problems, right?
Yeah.
And you get out, and where's your first assignment?
Well, back then, like you said, if you had clout, you knew where you were going.
Yeah.
I mean,
So you had guys who Simons hadn't come out yet, and they're already like, "Hey, I'm going to, I'm going to truck 36.
You start learning things.
yeah.
As you're in there, you start learning things, who knows people,
Yeah.
who don't know people. And like the guys, I don't know where I'm going now, so they end up at, 95 or truck 36 at back then. I mean, it was some all good houses,
Well, I was to say, like, what's a good house back then? Like a busy house, a house with good dudes,
I didn't
or-
know shit from Shinola about what was good and what was bad. You know what I mean? I was just happy to have the job.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I get a paycheck every couple weeks, right?
But then again, back then you got to remember the guys from the academy. A lot of them guys were old time firemen that were either down there because they were hurt and they were teaching because their knowledge was unbelievable. They would make phone calls to guys that were getting candidates. Say, hey, listen, this is a good guy. And they would come down there. The officer would go down there and say, listen, I'm getting a candidate. What looks good? You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah,
So
I think we talked or referred to that as horse trading.
Yes, pretty much. Pretty much.
What you got? You got a big guy down there?
Yeah, if you're
We
a
need a
truck
big guy.
officer,
Yeah.
you're looking for a big, strong guy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you're an engine guy, you might want something a little smaller that can, whatever. That's
Well, and that speaks volumes about you because you get out of the academy, and I'm sure
Yeah.
a couple phone calls were made. And where did you land?
I didn't even know where I was. I went to Engine 57, on the
Which
west,
is?
yeah, it's Potomac and Western.
Okay, back
And-
then that was a great
Yeah,
assignment.
that was
right?
a real good. I found out later it was a great assignment, and I didn't know that. They're like, I don't even know where this is at. I'm a Southsider. You know what I mean? They go, oh, dude, that's a pretty good place. I go, okay, it's humble.
guys vet you then?
It was Humble Park.
Yeah.
So
Did
I'm like,
these guys vet you to get over there?
I found out later. Yeah, my captain.
Yeah, of course, yes.
he went there and said, just give me a good kid that you think is going to be good on the engine, because that was a single engine house. So, I mean, that's and my captain ended up being Big Bill Kashesky, which,
wow.
like I said, his brother's the coach at Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, God rest his soul.
Right.
Great guy. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better officer right out of the academy. Guy was unbelievable. He was big dude, looked like John Wayne.
Yeah.
Fucking just.
What made him a great officer? Like,
You know what? When I got there, he's just like, he goes, I heard good things about you in the academy. He says, now you're out here, you put that shit behind you. He says, now we're going to teach you how to fight fires. You know what I mean?
he just kind of gave it to you straight, never bullshit.
Yeah, because we didn't do any live burns back then. None of that shit happened. I mean, it was basically your PT was running up and down, up and overs, whatever, taking your 2 or 3 mile run, whatever, and push-ups, calisthenics, all that bullshit. No. I mean, we didn't chop any roofs. We chopped a couple of railroad ties.
You didn't
bullshit.
spend any time in cans. You just
No, none of that.
It was all on the job training.
It was all right there in the academy, and we never went out on the street like the abandoned buildings, nothing like that. So he just told me, he goes, I'm gonna teach you the best of my knowledge to how we do it. You know what I mean? I said, I'm in.
And how did you feel about the crew that you wound up with right out of the academy? You get everything work out right when you got there?
Well, most of them guys already had 6 or 7 years on the job. Maybe some guys already had 10 years on the job where I went. So they hadn't gotten a candidate there in a long time. So,
Oh, wow.
So whoever has been carrying that pump can for the last 6 years was happy to see you.
Oh yeah. In many ways.
Is he a big straw guy? Well, it doesn't matter. Can't carry a fucking.
Yeah, pretty much. And that was my job for a while.
Do you remember day one walking in the firehouse or no?
Well, I went there ahead of time. So like back then they told you in the academy, and which was I think we're missing that part now.
Yeah, it's being a lost.
So it's a loss.
tradition,
It's I don't know. They just told us. My group leader told me, he goes, listen, you guys should go there as soon as you find out where you're going. Bring some donuts. Go meet the guys. You know what I mean? Because that back then we still didn't even know what shift we were going to be on.
Oh,
but then
okay.
it would, so they go, as soon as you find out your shift, go there and introduce yourself. And we all knew we were going mostly to the captain shifts. Most of us did,
Yeah.
So
Oh, is that the move?
yeah, that was you
Okay.
went to the captain shift. So
Good move, right?
Yeah.
so I found out when it was when I went there, talked to him. He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "I know you were coming. I know who you are." He knew everything already. And he goes, "I'm glad you came. These are the guys, and we're a single engine house, and we got some. We don't have that many details, but when we're all here, because somebody's going to be going out the door, which I didn't understand any of that at the time. But he goes, "You're going to learn the Joker stand, and when I think you're comfortable, I'll let you know. You'll start taking details." And when you're in a single engine house, believe me, those guys want you taking details because they're going out the door and you're staying because you're a candidate, you know?
Oh,
So
yeah, we talked about that.
yeah,
before,
6
too.
months of, back then it was at least 6 months, maybe a little less. If you learned everything quick and your officer felt comfortable with you, he put you on the road. It was up to him.
So you get to 57. How long is it before you get your first fire?
It was within 2 days.
No kidding.
Yeah. So in the beginning, he put me as the backup guy. because he didn't really know. We would drill on different things during the day. We drill once a day, whatever. And we, like I said, we had some good groups around us, 43, 44, 35. Back then, they were all busy.
Yeah.
I mean, so we'd go out and do our little drills, and because they all had candidates. All the houses, when I came out, all of our guys went to all them kind of companies, back then. So they all had a candidate. So Mark McDermott was there. He came out with me. He went to Truck 28. We had Sampy was on. He came on in the 80s right before me, so he was still kind of a candidate. So
Jewish guy.
Yeah, he was on Truck 36, and so we all go out and drill, and it was fun. I'm thinking this is great shit.
Yeah.
You're paying me for this?
Right.
I'll be driving a truck, man. I mean, besides the pay cut, I'm good. You know what I mean?
For a little bit.
Well, day 2 is when you got your first fire.
Yes, we got the first fire.
So you really don't know anything.
I don't know anything.
You're with a brand new crew. You've met them once before.
Yes.
You're second up.
Right, you're second up, and I remember telling my officer when we pulled up, he goes, just make sure that guy's had enough line.
Daytime, nighttime?
It was nighttime.
Okay.
It was nighttime, yeah. And it was a 2-story gray stone right around the corner from the firehouse. I mean, just east of the firehouse there. Yeah. Just off the corner of Potomac there. It was
right off Division?
Right off of Potomac, yeah. And we literally pulled out of the firehouse, went around, right down. We were there in 2 seconds. And back then, like you said, when the cops called it in, so the office would tell you over the speaker, you guys got a hit. You know what I mean?
And you were manning the Joker stand at the time, so you got to answer the call for your first fire.
Yes, it was like 9:30. So actually, I wasn't even on watch yet because I used to take the student watch. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's how it was. And I wasn't even. It was like we're out the door, and he's like, "Get all your shit on." So back then the pipe guy was open. There were open cabs back then.
Yeah.
So the pipe guy was on the officer side, so he could drag line right away. I sat in the middle, and the hydrant guy was on behind the engineer.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was actually just going to ask you for what his assignments
that's
are.
how it was. So when he got out, he goes, "You stay with me." He goes, "We'll make sure he gets enough line, and then I'll tell you when to move up. When you got enough line, then you can move up, and I'll tell you." Because then he let me take over once it was knocked down. You know what I mean? Okay, now you're on. You put me on a pipe, let me wash down.
So you guys pull up, and what do you guys got?
It's blowing out the front picture window. Okay. So it was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
I get this.
2 feet and you're in it.
Right. And then he explained to me why we pulled up past the building, all that stuff, which I learned, was very important later.
But even with you guys pulling straight up and you see it right there in the picture window, you guys are still coming off the back.
Yep. That was. I didn't come off a pre-connect until I got to the south side.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Nobody up north.
Nobody up north ever. The only time we had a garbage line too. That was usually on either on the side there by the ladder. You know what I mean? We never came off that pre-connect ever. If somebody else took a pre-connect off, it was squad company or somebody else that took it off. We always went off the back. Yep, that was a fact. And they're still doing that.
Yeah.
You don't run on a hose.
That's
You go
true.
off the back.
That's true.
That's the only thing I know. So
But I do like the pre-connect. It is fast.
Do you come off? Do you pull cross lay by you?
this is a point of contention at my firehouse. So I like to go off the back.
Listen, to me, over all the years I've learned, if we used to keep 250 on that pre-connect,
Same.
which will bring you to the alley and halfway back. You know what I mean? Or almost all the way back. So unless it's a courtyard building or, like you said, or some other circumstance which you needed more line, we always went off that pre-connect unless we had a lot of fire and we were protecting exposures or whatever,
Yeah.
But
when you guys are just a nerdy question, if when you guys are doing pre-connects, do you guys like wrap a hydrant and pull forward, like then pull to the front of the building?
No.
Okay, what do you guys do?
the hydrant guy takes off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, just runs and goes. Okay. And you guys still leave like room for the truck.
1.5 flats down, leave room for the truck.
Right.
Hydrant guy goes look for a hydrant.
A good engineer, to me,
just
a good
runs off
engineer
the
will
back.
see when he pulls up if there's trees for the truck.
Yeah.
He'll say, "Oh, he's gonna have to make he might get two houses passed,
Right.
whatever." I mean, whatever. I mean, a good engineer will look and say, "Well, you're gonna have some problems
This
there.
ain't gonna go.
This
Right.
ain't gonna fly. He's gonna have to go on a bad angle or, whatever."
Cool. So so you guys dropped that whatever the skid load or whatever load you guys had in the back,
Right,
off
right.
the back.
Yeah, take the two. There's 3 horseshoes on the back. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the horseshoes, and then so you guys set up in the yard, and what's going on? Like officers making entry with
Yeah,
with the pipe
they go
there?
up the front stairs, and the pipe guy's masking up because it's pretty much venting pretty good. So, as soon as you open the door, you can go to the left,
Right.
or you go right to go upstairs. You know what I mean? I mean, it's right there. So
you got to see the whole thing just unfold.
Yeah, it was pretty simple. That was my first fire, and then when I got in, I washed down, and he was explaining building construction to me, which way the floor joists run. I mean, plaster walls compared to drywall. You know, all that different stuff. You know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and how to wash down, how to keep it high, and when you're in here, how to stay low. I mean, it was pretty cool.
You were hooked from then on, huh?
Oh yeah, I was in, man. I was
In deep.
Yeah, like I said, I'm thinking to myself, I'm getting paid for this.
It's weird. It's one of the only jobs where like when you go to work as a fireman, you're like enjoy any other job. You're like, oh, I got to work right now. Like I actually have to work right now.
Yeah, and when I grew up in my neighborhood, there wasn't a whole lot of firemen. A lot of my friends and dads weren't firemen. Only a couple of them were, and they always said that's the best job in the world, and they're absolutely correct.
All right. So, how long did you stay at 57?
I stayed there from 87 till almost 90. I think I left there in 89 and went to.
Okay.
Yeah.
What prompted you to move?
Well, my officer was, he already had almost 30 years. When I got there, he had like 28, 29. And he goes, I'm just going to ride out my last couple out at 86's house.
So your officer was going, you thought this might be a good time to check something else out?
Yeah, he's just like, he goes, listen, I don't know who's going to come here or whatever. He goes, because I always wanted, I thought about going to a truck. He goes, well, you might want to try something else. You know what I mean? I mean, it's learn the whole job, so. Because here's a bunch of good companies. At the time, I was learning, what the good companies were. And back then, I only knew the West Side companies because I always got detailed in 95 or 76 or in the old second district back then, at 44, and that's how I got to know all those guys. We go to 35 once in a while, truck 28, but so I only knew those companies. And he's like, listen, you're a South Sider. He goes, there's a lot of good companies on the South Side. He goes, if you can't because my first choice back then, you got 3 choices. My first choice, I only had 2.5 years on the job. He goes, but there was a big promotion. A lot of guys had gotten promoted. A lot of good spots opened up. Yeah. He goes, this might be a good chance for you guys to get a good spot with a little time. So he goes, so I put in for 95, truck 36, and engine 45. I ended up getting 45, my third choice, which a couple of my buddies from the academy went there. So they're like, yeah, put in for it. We're burning down the South Side too. So I'm like, all right.
We're getting the game back together over here.
I didn't even know where 46 in Cottage Grove was, until I got the spot. I mean, I couldn't even believe I got it, Yeah. And so I ended up getting a spot, and like you said, back then you'd call up, and there was like 5 openings there on the truck and the engine. So he goes, I got the engine. He goes, well, you call first. Back then, you get the spot you wanted, the shift you wanted. Oh. Yeah. So I right away, as soon as I found out, I called my buddy. He goes, oh, yeah, go see Manpower, 5th District Manpower. So I went there, like you said, brought donuts, and that's how you got your spot. So
how you doing?
I stayed on the second shift and stayed at 45 for the next almost 9 years.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, we that's when a whole calamity of young guys came together, and we got the little.
I heard you guys got yourself quite a nickname over there.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we were all crazy, and we all thought this was great, and there was nothing we couldn't do.
You all were young.
All the same age. It was ridiculous. Between 23, 24, 25.
Well, Steve, you didn't hear who gave him that nickname.
Oh, I did not. Who gave you that? Well,
I believe it was Bobby Hoff.
Gave you the nickname Young Guns.
Yes, because he was a relief lieutenant at the time in the 5th.
Okay.
If I remember right.
Yeah, Steve, I don't know if you heard, Bob Hoff actually did a podcast with New York guys.
I heard that.
Yeah,
enough.
I heard also
enough.
This is after he canceled on us twice, or
it might be 3.
You guys are doing. You guys are really doing a good job getting him in there now.
Hey, Commissioner, no more.
Thanks a lot.
Bobby Hoff was very good, very good.
We're still coming for you, Bob. You're on the hook,
and that's
you are.
I mean, going back then, I mean, even for a guy in a position to kind of point you guys out like that.
Yeah. I mean, it was. He was. We had a lot of good relievers back then.
Yeah.
And like you said, everybody wanted to be a 5th District reliever or a West Side reliever. You know what I mean? I mean, that's where the fires were.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I mean, we had good. Even my officer at 45 was great, Billy Quinn. We had Bones Kazansky on the truck. I mean, they knew they had a young crew. You know what I mean? They were like,
I'll tell you, get a nickname like Bones. You're definitely a badass.
Yeah.
There's no way you're not
Yeah,
a badass.
yeah.
Like folks.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you got a bunch of young guys. I mean, we were all from like Brother Rice and St. Lawrence, and a bunch of us three of us went to Hubbard. So we were public school guys and Catholic school guys. I mean, it was just. I mean, we all came together, and none of us really knew each other. I mean, but. We end up being the best friends. We still get together. We still have a Young Guns reunion.
Come on.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And the only reason we broke up is that guys got promoted.
Did you guys make Young Gun shirts?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
To have one of those.
We got to
shirts.
get one of those.
It's a flaming skull with a helmet on.
It might have to be a revival of the Young
might-
Guns T-shirt.
We made Chicago's Bravest Stories. We'll put our logo on the front, and we'll
The
put
Young
their
Guns on the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That be all right with you, Billy?
Oh, it was. I'll
trademark
tell you something. Those guys, all those guys.
We'll give you the first one off the
I
printer.
mean, and the Young Guns are you probably know half of them: Corey Hojak, Marco Siniak, Kevin Ryan, Danny Sheehan, who's still on the job, Louis Bongiorno, Johnny Fox, who's still on the job. He's a captain of Tower 39. Or, I mean, all those guys. I mean, yeah, Kevin Lee, Corey Hojak. I mean, a bunch of young kids who just loved what they
Can
were
you
doing.
imagine that house?
Oh, dude, it was like Delta.
It's insanity.
It was like Delta House, dude. The only thing we're missing was a mermaid with the fishbowl tits. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that was. We all truly thought we would never leave that house back then. We spent so
You
much
guys
time
are just going to fires left and right?
going to fires, hanging out on the off day. I mean, we played football together. We played fucking softball together. I mean, we did everything together.
When you saw Backdraft, you thought it was about you guys, didn't you?
Well, we were better than Backdraft. Listen, we felt like, I mean, Bones and Bill had to pull us back. We thought, and back then, like I said, we had a big rivalry with 61. You know, so dude, that was.
I was just saying that just drives you fucking.
They were like the arch enemy. You know what I mean?
Is it still like that today?
You know what? 61 is absolutely gone now. They retired. They closed that house down. But back then, the projects were on State, so both of us would always go to State Street 10 times a day. Sometimes, you know, incinerators, elevators, all that bullshit. You know, and yeah. So they always thought they were a little bit older than us. So they always thought, oh, these young kids ain't. You know, we'd knock them out of the way. It was crazy. It was insane. I mean, they're like, oh, you young guys are out of control. Bullshit, dude. We're coming for you. You know what I'm saying?
What did you guys have any good stories with you and those guys?
Listen, we had a couple of times, a couple of wrestling matches out in front. You know,
Come on.
Oh yeah. And we had Kevin Ryan, who was a state wrestler. So we always had him on the pipe sometimes, you know. So, but we had a great crew, man. We're like, this is insane. You know what I mean? I mean, you're gonna put a bunch of young guys in a busy firehouse.
Yeah.
You know, with a couple good officers. Hey, no, we can't do.
To the moon.
Yeah.
To the moon, right? I mean, and we're like, this is after about two or 3 years of this, we're like, this is never gonna end.
And you like at some point you probably thought like somebody was gonna come and break it up. Like you
Yeah.
guys are, you know what? You guys are having too much fun.
Right.
Like, there's always that one guy, you know.
And back then, we got the reputation where all the relief lieutenants wanted to come there when these guys were on furlough. The officers, I mean, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go, and we just had so much fun. It was insane.
Give me a good fire you guys had.
We
Like a heyday Young Guns fire you guys had.
I don't know what year it was. It was St. Patrick's Day. We had 7 lead outs. We left the firehouse at 6 o'clock at night for the first lead out.
Yeah.
We got back at 6 in the morning, and we ended up at the same building we started with.
For a rekindle?
Yeah, no, they relit it again.
Oh,
Life is a circle.
So there was a guy out there that was lighting shit. As soon as
you guys just chasing this guy around.
yeah,
the
it was.
city,
It
huh?
was. I mean, and we were so. Even then, we were so fucking tired. By the time we got to the last one, we're like, "Didn't we start here? It's going through the roof again.
Something about this place.
Yeah.
This is not a
feel like
real.
I've been
the
here
same
before.
building. And they're arguing. This is the same building. No, it's not. Oh fuck.
I remember saying to Johnny Fox is on a truck. I go, "This isn't a rekindle. It's going through the roof." This was out when we left. You know what I mean? This is 11 hours later.
What was that starting lineup for you? What was that like 1996 Bulls starting lineup you guys had?
So
Who was on the pipe?
So we had me, Corey Hojak, who was the captain of Squad 5 lieutenant of Squad 5 for a long time.
Okay, so it's Jordan
Yeah, so we had
or Pippen, probably Pippen.
we had Kevin Lee, another good dude, which we're all still good friends today. We had Kevin Ryan. We had my cousin Ronnie Schickel, who was the engineer. Oof. Yeah, we had who else was on the engine? So that was all young guys. We had one old timer, Tom Cunningham, and he was always like.
You say he was the truck lieutenant, or he was just the barn boss?
Who, Tom Cunningham?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the older guy that was kind of like try to keep us in line. You know what I mean? And then on a truck, we had
babysitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Telling us you guys are out of fucking control. You know what I mean?
You do not go up to that officer and talk to him. Get over here.
Then on a truck, we had Eddie Toomey, Marco Siniak, Johnny Fox, Danny Sheehan, Louis Bongiorno, Sam Spicer. I mean, all guys, and all way under 30 years old. Yeah, I mean, it was so. I mean, listen, no one was pushing us out of the way. That's all it was. You know what I mean? I mean, it was.
Is that the same crew that wound up? Were you guys together on January 18th, 1996?
Pretty much.
Okay.
I think everybody was still there. Guys were just starting to get promoted back then because even though we were like thinking this was not going to last forever, the officers were like, "You guys got to study.
Yeah,
you got to study. You got to. This every crew breaks up." We're like, "Nah, none of us are going anywhere." You know what I mean? Yeah. And they're like, "Things are going to change."
Well, I just wanted to make sure that the same list of names that you just mentioned were the same crew that we're going to talk about it when we come back from this break.
You got it.
All right. Ooh. So you like that?
That was a nice. That was
very
nice.
good. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. We'll be right
Vince
back after this first break. All right. We're back from our break.
Well, first off, we definitely want to take a shout out to the frontline team, right, Vince?
The frontline
Our
team,
boys.
The frontline team, supporting the podcast. You know Tom Kelly, right?
I do.
He's a frontline team guy.
Yes, he is.
He's out there. You guys have a guy who for your mortgages and home loans and what have you. Frontline team 630-534-2900. You guys have a guy now. Frontline team.
He did a mortgage for my niece and stuff.
Did you? You had a frontline team action, didn't you, Steve?
I good friends with Josh Hill and Joey Matthews from Local 717. Joey Matthews has moved on to bigger and better things, but Josh was my guy, and man, did he take care of me. I didn't even have to leave my house to refinance.
Yeah.
And he
same thing with my niece. Same thing.
He knocked it out of the park, and the woman showed up to my house and knocked on the door, and she goes, "Sign these." And I'm like, "That's it?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's it." Boom, refinance. Saved me a ton of money. It was unbelievable. So really, truly, if you're a first responder, even if you're not, the frontline team from the Federal Savings Bank, Instagram, Facebook, the frontline team, Josh Hill, Tom Kelly, Joey Matthews. I mean,
they're all
Billy,
first responders and veterans.
Tom Kelly, 116 was great to my niece.
Yeah. And
boom, done.
They're all first responders.
Saved her a ton of money.
Yeah, and listen, they're not going to fuck you.
No.
Because then they're going to have to hear about it from every firehouse.
And they don't want to hear that.
Right.
Listen,
from Lake Forest all the way to the south suburbs, Joliet, they don't want to hear about it.
Tom Kelly did not want to end up in the woods at my place.
Yeah. In fact, if you did get fucked by them, call us because they will never hear the end of it. No, like honestly, these guys are awesome. And like what's cool, like just outside the fireman thing, outside of these guys being our buddies, what's really cool about them is that they're mortgage brokers. So like they don't work for Chase. They don't work for this bank. Like they're shopping around, they're finding the best rate, the best term, everything that they can, the perfect loan for you to find.
Yep.
They're shopping around, which is awesome. They're not buying today.
Dude, Josh even shopped around for a product for me that he doesn't even provide. That's how stand-up of a guy is. He's like, listen, I can't do this for you, but this is your best shot at what you're trying to do here.
Yeah. So that's that dick thing, right? that thing that puller, like it's metal on both sides, I think, and it pulls it.
This is very intimate details that I don't want to share.
I'm sorry, guys.
Between Josh and I.
Vince will cut this. He doesn't know how recording
I am definitely not cutting this. That was the frontline team. 630-534-2900. Give these guys a call. They're great guys. So, Billy, we are jumping right back into this because the Young Guns are at it, out of control.
Yes.
Just putting out fires all over the city of Chicago.
Slaying fires, slaying hearts.
Yeah,
Fighting,
exactly.
licking the dragon, what have you. Whatever
I don't think
that's
licking
not
the
a thing.
dragon.
No, that's not a thing.
Where the
I thought that was a thing.
from?
Listen, I did
I
hear that
watched,
one
too,
other
I
time.
watched too much Instagram.
Have you been hanging out with Jerry Marzullo?
Billy, have you ever been licked by the dragon for real? Like, you got 35 years on. The dragon had to lick you once or twice.
I'll tell you what. We
I
were
call it
down.
Mother Nature, and yeah, she slapped me down a couple times.
So when me and Steve were down in Springfield, I saw Marzullo's eyes on Steve. I think Marzullo was about to lick the dragon that night about 3 a.m. He's about 7 or 8 martinis.
There's no way, because me
Steve's
and Mike
the dragon.
Listen,
Just to make it clear.
you would have to pry me and Mike Loretto away from each other, trying to power bomb each other at the bar.
That was very cute.
If you guys think I'm cutting this, you are sorely mistaken.
No. So,
I'm not
Bill
scared.
Heenan,
I'm not scared.
We've got a guest here
I'm not
today. All right, so these guys again, like you guys were fucking well-oiled machines right off the bat, just from
dude.
working together. But
Yeah,
like
running upstairs in the
couple years-
projects, everything. You
I
know?
was gonna say, yeah, like trying to beat the other guy in the other fucking
Doing
stairwell.
shitty fires at projects.
And like, and at this point, a couple years in, like you guys are just firing all cylinders.
Oh, dude,
right?
we're gelling good.
Yeah.
So you guys are at the top of your game on January 18th, 1996, when you say?
Yeah, that was correct.
So walk us through that day. That's your shift.
Correct.
You're with your regular guys.
Yep.
And the fire we're talking about in particular, when did that come in?
I think it was like 2:30 in the morning.
So it's an overnight run,
Right, it
and
was
it
very
comes
cold,
in comes in
remember
as
that?
a still.
Yeah.
It was something like a today.
Yeah, it was
That
cold.
windy,
Yeah.
that wind blowing, just ridiculously
Ridiculous,
cold.
yeah. And I just remember we didn't really do too much that day. It was like a lot of bullshit running around, you know.
Yeah.
And
But then you guys get a still.
right, we get a still, and we knew the building. We had drilled there not recently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we were always second engine there because 19 was first.
So that's not actually your still.
Yeah, we were always second up there.
Okay.
Yeah. It was 19 still because they're right down the street there, you know.
But they had to go to
They were tied up at a hospital
an
box.
automatic alarm at a hospital or
yeah,
something
Michael
like that.
Reese, I believe it was. Yeah.
Which isn't around anymore.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it was one of the hospitals back in the day.
That was one of the ones that was always going off.
Yeah.
You know, they were always there. And they would always hold us up because it was always bullshit.
Yeah.
But I mean,
And you thought it was bullshit going into it, right?
yeah. So I don't think we were ever to this place for a still ever
Yeah.
that I remember. And
But you guys had just drilled.
yeah, we had
there
drilled
a couple
there,
days before.
It was a 10-story. Yeah, it was a 10-story building on a dead end. It dead ended. It came off of Cottage Grove and then it dead ended toward the.
A rectangle apartment complex
correct.
building. Your
Yeah,
typical-
metal.
But it was like steel or something
Yeah,
like
it was
that?
like a metal outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like it wasn't really a project. It wasn't a project. It was a lower income housing, I think.
Yeah.
And
And as you're pulling up, you guys are in those open cabs, so you can kind of look out and you don't see a single thing, right?
no, we're
And
going
you're
there,
calling- and you're
we're
calling
just,
bullshit
We're trying
already.
to stay warm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're all in the back with our cuddled up against the back of the thing, you know, back of the rig, and I just happen to like get up and look, and I'm like, man, I think we got a mattress. It looks like. And by that time, they were getting multiple calls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
So
they're like,
you guys pulled down the street, and again, just kind of set the stage.
we're coming
so,
from the
like,
south. You got to remember that.
right? Yeah. So you guys are coming from the south,
And the wind was coming
and this is
out
a
of the
big,
south.
big 10-story. Vince already said a rectangular building,
200 feet long.
like a Type 1 or like
Yeah.
yeah,
Just a big rectangle.
high rise. And you've got what is the layout of this place look like? You got a couple stairwells on each side.
Yeah,
or something?
so-
what from when you were drilling?
Well, we drilled there, and we found out where the standpipes were. There was
Lucky duck, man.
dude, yeah, there was stairwells on the ends, and there was one in the middle, and the hydrant. They had a hydrant at the back end of this place. So I knew where the hydrant.
like in the
we're at
whatever
dead end.
cul-de-sac.
Yeah, you want to call it wherever the parking lot ended, going east toward the lake. You know,
And what was your job? You had to
I
hit
was
the
on a
hydrant.
hydrant that day.
So you had to hit the hydrant.
Yeah.
After you get out there, no problems with the hydrant,
So
right?
it doesn't. When we're coming down the street, we look up and I go, I think we got a mattress. I can see a small glow in a window. I go, it looks like it's almost out. You know what I mean? And but we didn't know the wind was blowing
The other way.
50 miles an hour from out of the south going north.
Yeah.
So we ended up going around to the north side of the building, and that
So
was,
are your guys actually leading out at this point?
no, we don't. We're like the truck. The truck. I think they sent. I forgot who the second engine was in it. If it was 60, or because 19 was tied up, or it was 16. I can't remember who it was, or 61. I can't remember. I think it was 61 that came in that way with our truck. So our truck went to the south side. We went to the north side of the building.
Okay.
And as soon as he turned the corner, it was unbelievable.
So you hit the hydrant. You're walking around.
What'd
Just
you see?
to see
well,
the
What'd you see, Bill?
when we turned in that lot, it was the smoke was. I mean, people were hanging out all over. It was just like I couldn't believe
And
it.
that's the first thing you see. Like,
Yeah.
you don't even get out of the rig. You see
No,
this?
so and not only that, that day was was freshly promoted lieutenant Timmy Hunt. It was his first day as a lieutenant.
That's your guy?
Our guy, yeah, our guy was off. My regular officer was off.
Well, just so I paint this picture right, when you get out and when you hit the hydrant, from the side that you're on, it looks like nothing's going on, right?
No, side we're on is chaos.
Okay.
The people on the south side, our truck company doesn't know how chaotic it is.
Right.
Okay.
So
They're on the side that
Yeah.
has nothing really
yeah.
to see.
I'm thinking we can use the ladder over here. That's my first thought. People they're waving sheets and towels.
So everybody's
I mean-
hanging out the windows, huh?
Oh yeah, anybody from like the 5th floor up was hanging out the windows.
So,
The fire was on
what
the
do you,
5th.
I was going to say, so you pull up, you're getting the rig. What do you see?
I remember just looking up, going, "We're in trouble."
Yeah, what'd you see?
I just seen people hanging out and smoke pumping out of
Oh,
multiple
smoke. No
apartments.
fire that
no
you
fire
saw?
yet, just heavy smoke pumping out because they had them sliding windows.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Like those single pane
Yes,
jag-off windows.
cheap ass windows. And I remember people just hanging out, waving towels. They were even sheets. I mean, it was just
What floor?
that was the 5th and 6th floor.
Oh, okay. So you got smoke coming out, what, 4, 5, 6?
No, not 4,
5, 6?
5, and it was going up into this, rolling up into the 6th. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah, and then there was people above that who were just outright panicking because
Right.
they're seeing what's going on down below them. You know what I mean?
how many units across do you have when you're looking? Like, if
I think
I'm
there was
just looking at
20
this
units per
building,
floor.
10.
Yeah, 10 and 10 on each side.
So you're looking out the window. You got 10 apartments.
We got at least 3 apartments that are pumping heavy.
Oh, Jesus.
And like I said, I'm not.
You're
paying
having
it.
people come grab you saying,
Yeah, so I make the hydrant, and I remember my cousin Ronnie saying, "Cuz, you know where the hydrant's at? It was only 50 feet away." We pulled up to the end of the lot because we were trying to leave room for the truck. You know what I mean? So we pulled all the way almost to the hydrant, 50 feet, one length of hose. I made the hydrant in like 2 seconds. You know what I mean? And them guys took off with the high-rise pack. The other 2 guys on the engine, I think it was Kevin Ryan and Kevin Lee, I think I remember. They take off with the high-rise pack with the officer. So they're gone. And they got in one of the side doors. I think people were already pouring out. You know what I mean? Right. So they went in. They knew exactly what stairwell they were going to go up into. It was all the way to the east, which way the wind was blowing, we didn't know it was going to be bad at the time. I run to the hydrant. I'm coming back, and as I come back, some guy grabs me and says, "Hey,
so
my
because
family."
you hit the hydrant, you don't have your air pack on.
No,
you don't
I ain't got
have
nothing
it.
on.
Yeah.
I'm looking back at it. I'm watching as I'm trying to run to the hydrant. I'm thinking this is getting worse by the minute, you know. And I can hear the radio on the rig because the engineer had turned on the outside. I can hear the radio, still in box alarm. Now it's a still in box. It's a high rise, and
So your brand new lieutenant upgrades this right away.
well, I don't know if he upgraded it or the multiple calls upgraded it. I just remember still in box, 35th and Cottage Grove, high rise, so and so, fire on the 5th floor, fire on the 6th floor. They were naming all kinds of floors because people were panicking.
Yeah.
They were getting like 30, 40 phone calls, And I'm looking, I'm running back, I'm looking back, I'm running to the hydrant. I make the hydrant real quick, open it up, charge the line, and we're like. As I'm coming back with the wrench in my hand, I'm like, this guy grabs me. He's like, "Hey, that's my cousin up on the 6th floor, hanging out the window on the end of the building, the lakeside."
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm like, "Listen," I go, "there's a lot of people hanging out." I go, "We're gonna get there. We're gonna get this." I mean, what else do you tell him?
Right.
He goes, "No." He's pulling me by the arm. He goes, "You don't understand." So he drags me pretty much to where I get to the end of the building, and they're like, they're taking a beating.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the
heavy smoke pouring
heavy
out.
smoke. I see 4 heads hanging out the window. I'm like, oh man, I go, this ain't good. And they got the little girl out the window. They're holding her by her arms.
Like,
out the window.
Jesus.
Out the window's knocked out. You can see
Yeah.
they smashed the window out, and they're all out, they're all trying to get air out the window, and I'm like, oh shit.
What floor is this?
This is on the 6th. At the time, I thought it was the 5th because I did a quick look, and just then truck 4 was pulling up.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, truck 11 was still tied up at the box.
And you're fucking by yourself, huh?
I'm by myself.
Jesus.
Right? So as they pull up, I run back, and I knew a couple guys on truck 4. I says, hey, listen, we need the biggest ladder you got. I says, these people aren't going to jump. I mean, they're taking a pounding. And he goes, listen, they're starting to raise their main, and because there's people hanging out everywhere.
So do you think from their perspective they're like, listen, we got bigger fish to fry? Or
yeah, they're like, listen, they're not going to listen to me. I'm not even on the company. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
They're like, what are you talking about? I go, I go, grab the banger. I go, it's at least the 5th floor. So now he's like,
you real quick, grab the banker.
yeah. So I told this guy Bobby Williams. I go, Bobby. I go, they're gonna drop this kid. There's no doubt in my mind. I said, I know people are in trouble, but these people are in real trouble. No one can even see him on this end of the building.
How
That's a 400-pound ladder, right?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
At least.
and just
if not more.
Like what you saw, like what do you think this kid is? How old is this kid about?
You know what? I didn't even get a good look at her. I just remember she had a pink nightgown on.
Well, this kid was 8 years old.
Yeah, ended up being 8 years old.
80 pounds.
Right. So
that'll come into play later.
So I pull away from the dude that's dragging me. I go to truck 4. I said, let's grab the ladder.
Yeah.
I says, it's going to take every bit of us to get it 100. It was probably 100 yards.
So this girl became your new priority.
I just, you know what? Well, I'm just going to go what I think is right, you know? So the ladder's probably maybe 80 yards from, because it's behind us, because the engine's already in there. So we grab this ladder, and of course we're trying to get it out. It's heavy as hell. It's cold outside.
How many guys you got pulling this banger ladder?
Pretty much everybody but the driver. The driver was raising the
main.
The main, yeah.
So 5 guys pulling this 400-pound ladder.
Even the officer. So we get it off. So we're trying to run through the parking lot, and we're bouncing off cars. I mean, we're bouncing off our legs. I mean, this thing.
It's a jag-off ladder, yeah.
Yeah. What is this ladder again?
The banger
ladder. And it's got the 2 tormentor poles on the end of it.
So it's a 50-foot ladder.
It's a 50-foot
about
ladder.
400 pounds.
It's 400 or 500 pounds at least. I'm thinking, right?
And how long is this thing like retracted? You give it about 20 feet or so.
Yeah, 20 feet. At least.
It's what, 3 sections?
It's 3 sections. Yeah.
Okay, 3 sections. So yeah, probably about what, fucking 20 feet each.
Yeah. Some 15
so
feet maybe.
Big fucking jag.
It's just a big jag-off ladder that we never use. You know what I mean? So we get around a corner, and there's only like a 10-foot sidewalk, and the rest is dirt and trees. You know what I mean?
Like coming down.
The
off
10-foot
like
sidewalk that surrounds the whole building.
Right, and then it's like what is it?
Then it starts going downhill toward the railroad tracks.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. So.
And that where it starts going down is right where you got to throw this banger ladder.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking
to myself,
the flat ground.
we got to throw the banger ladder on. They said, well, we're gonna throw it on the concrete. So we went to the end of the concrete, which was a terrible fucking angle.
It was too much.
Yeah.
Too much,
of
right?
an angle.
Right.
At the time though, you're in a hurry. They're still holding a girl out the window. They're pulling her up to the ledge. They're pulling her back on the window. I'm trying to watch what we're doing, and everybody's screaming. Now you got 60 people out there,
right?
If not more, all screaming, "Hey, they're gonna drop her. They're gonna, whatever." So we start raising the ladder. We get it up, and we lose the tip of it, kind of in the smoke, because the smoke was blowing down, blowing up, blowing down.
It was that bad that you guys couldn't see the tip.
Couldn't see the tip at the time. Wow. So we raised it as far as we could. Fucking lock it in, tie it off. I'm standing there, and they pull the tormentor bars off, and they're not touching the ground. You know what I mean?
And what does that mean, Steve?
Because it's a bad angle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it means tough shit.
Yeah. So the 2 guys, they step off with the tormentor bars, and then at that time, Ronnie, the engineer, had come running around the corner. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Look." He's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Holy shit!" He goes, "Get up that ladder and get that kid." I'm like, it's not even my ladder. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at this point, I know
I'm on the engine.
Yeah, I'm an engine guy. I just made the fucking engine. You know what I mean? He goes, "Get up there, cousin, get that kid." I go, "Okay." So I go scrambling up the ladder, and as I'm getting up there, I'm realizing that this is not very good. You know what I mean?
So just to set the stage, so there's this big giant building, okay? You've got a sidewalk that goes around the entire building.
Right.
And you've got a drop off on your end.
Yeah, it starts to taper down, yeah.
If you're at the base of this hill, where you can actually get a decent climbing angle, you're probably losing. You're losing.
Oh, you're losing
footage.
a whole ladder.
Yeah, so you probably lose a whole floor. So like you're up against, you're on the sidewalk that's right on the building.
I just remember
what,
the ladder.
What do you think this climbing angle's like? I mean, that's why your tormentor bars
I remember
don't come down.
pulling. I remember raising the ladder and pulling the string till the very end, and then locking it in.
Yeah.
And then putting it in, and then it went against the building.
Just at a horrible, steep ass angle.
At the bottom, it looks good until you start climbing.
Did you think that you have a 50-foot banger? You thought this kid was on the 5th floor. Did you think that you were able to reach?
I thought I was to the bottom of there, because it was a window and a metal frame below that. So I'm figuring I'm at least to that. You know what I mean?
So you think you're good?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah. So everybody's yelling at me to get up the ladder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I scramble up the ladder. As I get to the 3rd section, I start realizing, man, this is a bad angle. You know what I mean? And I'm looking back down, and they're still fucking with the tormentor bars.
Because it's almost straight up and down.
It's almost straight up and down.
Yeah.
And they're still holding the tormentor bars in their arms.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, this ain't good.
And that,
you know what I mean?
those guys holding those tormentor poles are the only things that are keeping this thing from just
From
completely
falling
going
backwards.
Yeah.
Right. So
Just their weight, though.
yeah, right.
They're hanging off these tormentor bars like chopsticks. Just fucking.
So I mean, there's a million people yelling, "Oh, grab her, grab her!" I'm thinking to myself. So I get like, maybe there's only like 10, 12 feet of ladder left. I can't climb any higher, because if I climb any higher, the ladder's gonna go straight back. You know what I mean?
And
Well, I'm to the point now where the weight's gonna offset the balance.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you're as high as you can go.
I'm as high as I can
you're
go.
way short of this kid.
I'm short. I'm short a floor and a half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm now I can talk to them. Now they're yelling to me. They're like, keep coming. I'm like, I can't
Right.
go. I can't go any higher. You know, I mean, if I go any higher, it's over for me.
when you climb, and I know you've been there before. When you climb at those steep ass angles, the closer you get to the tip,
Scarier
every
it gets.
step you take, you bounce off.
Yes, that's exactly
you
what was
bounce off
happening.
the fucking
and you
the
hear
building.
and you hear the ladder clap
clink
against.
as it comes
Yes.
back. And
Yes.
you take one more step, jump off the building, and you clink right back.
And I'm still yelling to the guys on the ground to set the tormentor bars. I go, set the fucking bars. I go, this thing's moving all over the place, you know?
I've done that. I've shit my pants at 20 feet. I couldn't even imagine you would probably fucking
So I'm
35, 40 feet in the air.
I'm at the
Yeah,
top.
but he's in the 160-pound
yeah.
gymnastics class that could hang.
Yeah.
See,
Believe me,
and
that did not go
it
through my
comes
mind.
back.
comes back to the flex arm hang. The flex arm
Imagine that kung fu grip he has on those.
Oh, yeah.
on
It was,
those rungs.
it was a kung fu grip.
hang. He was single back then.
Yeah.
This is a married guy now. At this point.
Yeah, so...
White knuckling the whole way.
Oh
out.
yeah. So as I'm screaming back and forth to the guys on the floor, people are yelling at me, grab the kid. I mean, I go, I can't get to her.
Yeah.
I go, we're short.
But you were able to speak to her.
I'm actually speaking to her brother. Her brother was holding her out the window.
That's the
Now,
guy who's holding her?
Yeah.
But-
Holy shit.
tell everybody what you're quoted as saying to the little girl when you're at the tip of the ladder.
I'm like, listen, I go, I can't get to you. I said, listen, stay there. You guys are good. But it wasn't really that good.
Yeah.
Shit was pumping out over their heads. You know what I mean?
What do you
And-
see? You just see still black, heavy, thick
Oh,
black
heavy
smoke.
black, yeah, heavy black smoke.
But
yeah.
Billy, you're quoted as saying, I'm going to stay here. I'm never going to leave.
Yeah, I said, listen, I'm staying right here. I go, I yelled down to the guys on the ground, my cousin. I said, listen, tell the squad to come to the back. They can grab her with the bucket. They can get the snorkel back here. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah?
And he's like, yeah, all right, yeah, they're on their way. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay. So I'm looking back up, and I'm like,
They're not on their way.
yeah.
Listen.
I never saw them.
How many times have you been at a fire when you're told it's coming, it's on the way, we got it?
And how many minutes out are they always?
And here's
5
the thing:
minutes out.
the radio
minutes out.
traffic was unbelievable.
Yeah,
You couldn't even get on the radio.
right.
And
this
fire,
thing?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
fire ground was insane. So, I mean, I go, listen, I'm staying right here. You guys are good. I mean, we got help coming. You know what I mean? And they're like,
You're looking up. You're just trying. You're just
I'm
trying to give
watching
them
it.
something
It's,
so that
it's
they don't drop this
progressively
kid.
getting worse. You know what I mean? And I got people yelling at me from the ground. I got them yelling at me. And he's like, I'm just gonna drop her. You catch her. I'm like, that's not gonna work, dude. You know?
No,
I'm
bad
like,
idea.
That's you're talking 15 feet here, at least. Yeah, I go. If I miss her, she's gonna die. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's 6 stories.
And I was just gonna get to that. Like, it's 15 feet, 15 feet from the ground up, 15 feet is very different than you're at 35, 40 feet in the fucking
I'm at
air.
least 40 feet. Yeah, at least. You know what I mean?
But her being 80 pounds, you're 80 pounds, you got 15 feet between you. Doing the math, like 32 feet per second.
Oh.
That 80 pounds is coming at Billy.
I had no idea he was going to drop her. So
Did this guy just do some math on us?
yeah, some math. He's right. Some math was not good for me.
Right.
So as I look down to tell them, hey, where is? I remember yelling, "Where the fuck is the squad?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I hear Ronnie say, "Look out, cuz!" And I no sooner looked up, and I remember her dress being above her head, and she's coming to right to my left. And all I did was like, I didn't know what to do. I just stuck my arm out, and she landed.
Just a natural reflex to put your arm out there.
I put my arm out to maybe even slow her down. I don't even know what I was thinking. I mean, your natural instinct is just to try to grab her, right?
Right.
So I lean over. I put my arm out. She lands, I mean, obviously perfect. Between one arm and one leg on one side of my arm.
You grab her.
She lands.
So she's straddling your bicep.
Yes. And I mean, I remember I almost got knocked off the ladder. I'm like,
Yeah, of course.
Fucking right.
and then I'm like, holy fuck, I got her. And all I remember is people yelling, they're all clapping. These people are clapping on the ground. I'm like, this ain't over.
Yeah,
I got to get her down now.
Yeah. And she was very disorientated from the smoke. She took a bunch of smoke. And I remember there was a lot of blood because she had sat on the window ledge where they had knocked the window out. And she cut her butt end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, where the fuck is the blood coming from?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I get it. I caught a girl 50 feet. Who knows where the blood's coming from?
And she's and at
Might
this
be coming
time,
out my ears.
she's reaching away from me. She's disoriented. She's reaching for the wall. The wall's right there. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to pull her back in. 2 seconds later, her sister jumps right by me. Just goes right past me. Misses me and her by inches. Right? I watch her go all the way to the ground, and I watch a bunch of people just run.
Her sister's an adult, right?
Yeah, she was like, I don't know, she was 16, 17, 18, somewhere around there. And I remember watching the whole crowd just go to her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy fuck, what just fucking happened? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden I look up and her brother, who was holding her, he jumps out the window and he grabs onto a drain pipe. And he's hanging on a drain.
He's almost eye to eye with you at this
He's
point,
above
right?
me, about like 10 feet above me. Yeah.
Like he jumped out in like Spider-Man to fucking drain pipe.
He
Like this
jumped from the
attached to
window
building.
to the column and grabbed the drain pipe.
Jesus Christ.
But
And he's looking at me.
that wouldn't be his fate for too long.
No, he's looking at me, and I'm looking up at him, and I'm still trying to corral this girl who's screaming, and the wind's blowing 40 miles, and the ladder's moving now. I'm like, what the fuck? This can't get any worse, right? He looks at me, I go, dude, I remember saying to him, I nothing I can do. All of a sudden, he's gone. He let go. He lets go. He goes to the ground. I remember all the people again running to grab him, and they're dragging him away.
And the brother and sister just fell 60 feet right in
Yes.
front of you.
Yes. Okay. And I'm like,
and the brother is or the brother's the uncle.
the brother was that was his sister that jumped, and the sister I caught.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right. I'm
yeah,
sorry. Okay.
yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah. So then, and I forget, Mom's still in the window, right? I completely forget that she's up there.
Yeah.
So now I finally get the girl into the ladder. I pin her against the ladder. I go, listen, we're gonna get down. This is gonna take some time. I said, we gotta do this very slowly.
And again, they teach in the academy to fucking lock your legs in
Yeah.
when you're breaking out windows
Yeah.
on the second floor.
Well, I finally got a leg.
You're
I only
obviously
got-
not locked in when you
No,
grab
I got
this
a leg
girl.
lock. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do a leg lock because I didn't know where that ladder was gonna go.
Right.
If I'm locked into the ladder, I'm going with it.
Right.
I'm already looking at the trees. I'm above the trees. I'm 10 feet above the trees, right? So I'm thinking, if this ladder starts to go,
You need to bail out.
I'm gonna bail for the trees. At least it'll slow me down. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking. Jesus. Right? And at that point, the ladder starts to slide to the side, right? And it stops. It hits an air conditioning unit. Oh. It stops by the air conditioning unit.
The ladder actually goes.
I'm on an angle.
That saved you, that air
It saved me.
conditioner.
Yeah, the air conditioner stopped the ladder from sliding all the way down the side.
Because those guys at the bottom are not, there's no way
There's
they're
no way
going to
they can hold
control
that
that.
weight.
Yeah.
There's too much weight at the tip.
Once it starts going, it's
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
You can't do
so
nothing
it
about
hits it hits the air conditioning unit. I'm like, thank God.
Where's she at?
She's pinned in between me and the ladder.
So you move her down in.
So I get her into me finally. And now I'm trying to turn her around so she can like wrap her legs around me and put her legs around my neck so I can slowly start going down the ladder.
Not only do you make the 15-foot Golden Glove grab,
right.
but then this ladder goes, and you somehow still hold on to her. I mean, obviously you moved her in, but like you still are somehow holding on to this girl.
Now I'm wedged against stuff.
Sitting at like at a jag-off angle to begin with.
Yes. And, So now they put 5 guys on the tormentor bar and they push it straight again.
You know, just so you know, there's guys right now that complain when like the tab goes up $2. Like,
the fucking club.
Just to kind of send a baseline of like what a shitty day is.
Think about the guys. The guys at the bottom are fighting for their lives down at the bottom, and bodies are landing around them.
Yes.
And it's not over yet.
It's not over yet. So they finally get me back straight again. So now I'm like,
they unfucked the ladder.
They unfucked the ladder.
Jesus.
Unbelievable.
With 5 more guys.
Yeah, 5 more guys on one tormentor bar pushing.
Yeah. Is that what happened?
Yeah, they got civilians were involved in this. They were pushing with civilians. So they straighten the ladder out. No sooner they straighten the ladder out, I feel something brush by me. Take my helmet right off my head. Mom jumped head first out the window.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I don't think she meant to go head first, but she was. I looked up and it was fire. I get that black smoke and fire.
It's not smoke anymore.
She's getting burned.
Yeah, didn't have a choice.
Yeah, so she just went out the window the best she could.
So if you had your helmet clipped, you're off the ladder.
Would have broke my neck.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind. So I just remember a brush and my helmet was gone. And all of a sudden I look and I seen her hit the ground.
I mean, she came pretty close to just landing on top of you and taking both of you down.
Both of us. I never even seen it coming.
And those guys holding the tormentor bars. Yes. Now here's another body landing by these
When
guys.
you see the video, I'll get you guys a video. When you see the video, you're like, no fucking way. People are just dropping.
Well, you telling the story, I shit my pants about 5 times in the middle of this story, and I wasn't even
I'm
there.
like anxious.
Right.
This whole thing has got me fucking anxious right now.
He's still sitting on a goddamn air conditioner at 45 degrees angle.
So it took me 17 minutes to get her down off the ladder, right? So I get to the bottom of the ladder and
just slow and steady, just bring
one
her
step
down.
at a time because she's freaking out still. I'm still got to stop and pin her in, tell her to calm down. We're gonna make it because now she starts looking down. She actually seen her mother.
Oh fuck!
Hit the ground. And so now she's freaking out. You know what I mean? So now I'm trying to hold her. I get her down. We finally get to the bottom of the ladder. And I remember my cousin around me goes, dude, that was the best grab I've ever seen in my life. I go, listen, get the fuck out of my way. I just want to get away from this ladder.
Where's my helmet? I want to go home.
That's exactly what I said. I go, where's my helmet? I says, I got to go help those guys inside, whatever. You know what I mean?
Because this thing is still raging out of control.
Oh, yeah. And I remember the people were carrying them. They were carrying all 3 of them around to where the ambulances were out in front, you know.
So the brother and the sister both survived. They like broken femurs, broken hip, broken back.
Yeah.
But they made full recoveries. The mom passed away at the scene, and the little girl, thanks to Billy's grab heard around the nation. Yeah, and we'll get into that later. But
with a left. Can we talk about Greg? Are you left-handed?
I'm lefty.
Oh,
for a lucky day.
You ain't kidding, dude. You ain't kidding.
But now you got to go do what you came there to do.
Right. So me and Ronnie take off, and
you hand her off.
And the guys inside are like, "Where the fuck
is
he?" Where's he ducking? Where's he ducking?
They are ready to hammer you.
Every time I was told that, you know? So
yeah, you had to tell a story about grabbing a girl out of a window at that point.
That was your only excuse.
Yeah, right. So
okay, Billy.
We take off. I go back to the engine, and now they're yelling for the deck gun. So.
Which is a bold move because there's still people in windows, right?
Yes. So I remember the chief, I forgot who the chief was. He comes right up to me and goes, listen, you guys got to drape that water, hit above it and let it drape down. You know what I mean? Let it run down. Don't put it directly in the windows.
I would venture to say that was Chief Jim Stedman said to take the deck gun and hammer.
There was a whole shitload of chiefs there, so I don't even know. It ended up being a 5'11" and 2 specials, whatever.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah. Fucking like 1/3 of the city was there. So...
Did you find your guys?
Yeah, so anyway, I go back to the thing and I jump up on the deck gun, and Ronnie's like, I can take this. I'll just charge the deck gun. I'll take care of it. Just go. Find out where those guys are at. So we get in there and get up in the hallway, and I believe it was Engine 16 and our guys, and they're trying to hook up to the standpipe.
Who was supplying the standpipe? Just out of curiosity. Not you guys.
We ended up hooking up to the standpipe too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
But you guys had just drilled there, but now there's a change in that standpipe
Yes.
that really fucked you guys.
Yeah, so they were stealing the fittings. Was it the big brass fittings back then? Who you hooked up a standpipe to?
Because you could get money for brass.
Yes.
They're still stealing fittings.
Yes. So anyway, I go inside there and I go up to where they're at the floor below the fire and they're trying to hook up the standpipe and they can't hook up.
Fire Force 5, right? So you guys are sitting at 4?
Yeah, we're sitting at 4 and we're trying to hook up and they got these big steel boxes built around these standpipes with lock boxes. So we forced the lock box, but now the box is too close to the fitting and we can't get the hose on there. It was insane.
It doesn't. It's.
I'm thinking
it's
this is
too
going
close.
downhill fast. You know what I mean?
You can't turn the coupling to.
We can't get the butt. Yeah, we can't get the butt on there. And next thing you know, I mean, they're beating on it with axes and
I was
sledgehammers.
just gonna say, there's got like if you have you've got one little metal piece around. You got one metal box around this thing. You've got a bunch of dumb firemen and tools. For sure, guys, you're going after this.
Yeah, they're gonna chew it off with their teeth.
Oh, yeah,
we were beating on it. We would swing until we were tired. Next day, I would start swinging until we was tired. So they end up beating a big enough spot where they can get it hooked up.
Come on.
They get it hooked up.
Okay.
We open it up, charge the line, get the air out.
And what felt like forever.
Forever. We get up to the floor where the fire was.
Yeah.
Fifth floor. And the door is just like red hot.
It's a metal fire door.
It's a metal fire door. And it's fucking.
And it's glowing hot.
It's hot. Yeah, right. Yeah. We couldn't even open it. It swelled. It couldn't even open
Right.
the door.
I think we talked about this before. Like, did you really want to open that door?
Yeah. At the time,
Well,
we're
at
thinking.
the time it did.
Yeah. At the time, all of a sudden, we couldn't get it open. The heat had swelled so bad we couldn't open up. So then we went back down.
Were guys going after this door or no?
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah. Thank God we didn't open it. We probably all would have been.
Well,
cooked.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
but
With that
your
wind
guys were going
raging,
after
yeah.
it, though. They were trying to pry it open.
Yeah, they were trying to open it. Yeah. We were all trying to open it.
That door opens up and you guys just get fucking roasted.
Dude.
Well, they were in rescue mode.
And you know it wouldn't have closed because it wouldn't have went back the same way it came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys would have been fucked
Oh,
had you
dude, we
opened
would have
that
been
door.
fucked. Yeah.
So there's miracle number 2.
Miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we go down and they end up going up truck 15's ladder, our ladder, on the south side because the wind was blowing in, and that apartment was pretty much burnt out by that time. They end up getting in there, sticking
On
a
the
line
other
in the
end of the
window,
building, right.
and just running it forever, and then slowly working their way in and working their.
Did they ran a line up the ladder,
Up the
or
ladder.
did they have it in a standpipe? Okay.
They ran it up the ladder. That was the only way to make that hallway.
Holy fuck.
They make that floor.
Yeah.
It was insane. I was telling these guys they made 62 ladder rescues.
62 ladder.
Yes.
Billy just described one of them.
Yes.
62 ladder rescues.
And I think
after they were
4 or
done.
5 people died at that fire. Yeah, it was insane. And then when it was all done, said and done, it looked like a banquet hall. 8 apartments were gone, completely gone.
No walls.
No walls. I mean, in the main
Barely windows.
The main girders that held the building were twisted from the heat.
The I-beams.
The I-beams were all twisted.
Was
They
it
started. I think they evacuated that building. I think they thought it was a collapse issue, because we found out later that building was built in sections, 3-story sections. Then it would be another 3 stories. They'd stack it on top, and they were worried about it pancaking.
these girders? I think these are, as they start twisting, that's they're melting.
Yeah.
Again, I'm definitely gonna sound like an asshole here, but I want to say it's somewhere around like 1800 degrees.
Yeah.
Well, what did Wayne Miller?
Well, listen,
Wayne
what-
Miller
all
had
I'm trying to say-
he had that info when he was in here.
he?
Remember, he was talking about.
I
that-
didn't listen.
that-
It was a wind-driven fire.
was
It
your
was
guy.
hot as hell.
Right. Well, all I'm trying to say is like, okay, 1800 degrees. You're twisting these girders. These girders are starting to melt. What's turnout gear? If you guys had turnout gear at the time, did you have turnout gear?
No,
or
at that
three-quarters?
time, no.
You're
we-
still
we-
in
we
the
still had
raincoats
boots.
and rubber
Okay.
boots,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I think turnout gear is like fucking 700 degrees.
Yeah,
you know,
we-
like,
yeah,
you like you're dead before you even fucking know it. You get on that floor.
right. And I don't know if we even had hoods back then.
Jeez.
Yeah, I can't.
So how
remember.
long were you at that fire?
We were there from 2:30 until daybreak. So we
At
got
11.
yeah. So we left there. I think we left there about.
So basically 4 hours fighting that fire.
Yeah, we left there at 8:00 in the morning.
Finally at 11 o'clock, the black smoke cloud just moved over and the sun opened up.
There's some awesome pictures. There's like, I would say 10 ladders to the building, all the way around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 tower ladders. Tower 39, Tower 37, Squad 5. I think Squad 1 ended up coming. It was so much equipment there. It was lined up down the streets.
You couldn't get any more.
You couldn't get any more in there.
Yeah. I know that Father Tom Mulcrone, who was a guest on this show, showed up on the scene.
One of our first.
Yeah. He was number 2.
Yeah.
What he had something to say to you.
Yeah.
When he ran into you.
So after it was over, we were all outside, and like most guys are, all the knuckleheads that smoked were having a cigarette. And he walked up and he goes, "Hey, I heard about some crazy ass rescue at the end of the building," and my dumb ass was like, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes like, "You stupid," and I'm like, I go, "Well, yeah, I guess that would be it, you know." And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "The mom didn't make it, you know." And I go, "Yeah, it didn't look good when I left." And he goes, "No, she didn't make it. The other two are at
Father
the
Tom gave her last rites, right?
I heard that. Yeah. I don't know if
That's a scene.
Yeah. Yeah. She was dead on. He was. It didn't. You'll see if you see the video. You'll see it's not good. But yeah, he goes. Somebody told me it was incredible, and then at the same time, we didn't notice at the time, but some knuckleheaded amateur photographer caught the whole thing on video. The whole fire.
Rescue.
The whole fire, the rescue, everything. He pulled up the same time we did. He was on his way back from work, and he heard it on a scanner.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. And then it went worldwide. It went fucking crazy.
Steve, is that something we could put up on our thing, or?
When Billy gets us the video?
Yeah, I'll get him the video. It's insane.
I looked. I scoured the internet. I could not find that video.
I got a lot
Billy
of
said he's got a
VHS.
Yeah, it's on VHS.
Oh, because you're old. Bill.
I'll put that in Vince's hands. That's a technical issue.
Obviously, you don't know the inner workings of this podcast.
Oh, that's great. So,
well,
so
now,
you guys, what else? What else is he like? What else do you? So you, I mean, after you guys pretty much knocked it out, just cleaning up around there.
Yeah. So we go back to the firehouse and.
But your life has changed now.
Oh yeah. So I don't know what's on video yet.
Right.
So anyway, we go back to the firehouse and everybody's like, "What the fuck did you do out there?" I'm like, "God, fuck, well, this happened." Because you were on a fucking hydrant. What are you doing on a ladder? I'm like, "Listen, it just happened. You know, I don't know what to tell you. You know." And they're like, "All right, whatever." No one really. I'm like, "Yeah, it was pretty good." He goes, "I caught this girl." He goes, they're all thinking maybe I caught her from like 3 feet away. You know.
Right.
So I'm like, "No, she dropped like 15 feet." And my cousin Ronnie's like, "You should have seen it. It was fucking pretty cool." He goes, "Yeah, I didn't think he had it in him." You know what I mean? I'm like, he's jagging me off. You know what I mean? I'm like,
it sounds like, oh my god.
Yeah. He goes, "Oh, let your head get too big." And I'm like, "God, it's not." So next thing you know, I mean, the Marshall line rings. You know, it's a firehouse phone, and I'm looking. I want to have a drink. You know what I'm saying?
I was just saying, like, you guys are all cleaned up and shit. And
no, we're not really. We're still all. The next shift is coming in. You know what I mean? They're all like, "Hey, what the fuck happened? What do you guys do? We heard about it on the radio." I go, "Yeah, it was insane."
And like the rig's all reset. Like you guys spent
we're all
jagging
sitting there,
off
and we're just like, and somebody had a cooler. Somebody had a cooler.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And they're like, "Oh yeah, let's go have a couple cocktails." So we're like, "Yeah, all right." So we're off, you know, and next thing you know, the phone rings, and I'm like, "Hey, the commissioner's on the line." I'm like, "Yeah, fuck you guys." You know what I mean? This is bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Commissioner ain't calling me.
And he's with the president too.
Yeah.
And they want to talk to you.
So I pick up the phone. I go, "Yeah, it's Ray Orozco." I go, "Yeah, sure it is," and I hang it up. Right?
Hey, it's Ray Roscoe. Yeah, this is the Pope.
Yeah. So I started walking out back toward the parking lot to have a beer, and the phone rings again. He goes, "No, it's really him." Someone recognized his voice, right?
And he's really mad.
Yeah. And he goes, "Bill," he goes, "it's Ray Orozco." I go, "I get it, Chief. I understand that now." You know what I mean? He goes, "Listen, I just saw a video." I go, "What video?" He said, "There's a video of that girl you grabbed." I go, "Really?" I go, "Well, I don't know anything about no video. I didn't see no camera guys. Who's out there at 2:30 in the morning?" You know what I mean? He goes, "Well, some guys got the whole thing, the whole fire. I mean, everything. 3 hours of footage." I'm like, "Holy shit." He goes, "Pretty amazing." He goes, "Listen," he goes,
and you see the whole rescue.
Yeah. It's
on camcorder.
Yeah. It's, and he's like, "Listen, I got news outlets calling me left and right here. They want to interview you. They want."
About your thing.
Yeah.
Holy
I
shit.
go, "Really, Chief?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Listen," he goes, "Go home. Don't get shit-faced."
Right.
He goes,
Right.
change.
As you're holding a beer in your hand.
He goes, yeah, and I had a newborn at the time, you know. He goes,
Should shower,
he didn't know
shave.
that. He goes, go home, shower, shave. I'm sending a car for you. It's going to pick you up at, 10 o'clock in the morning. He says, we got some interviews to do. He goes, this looks good for us. You did a great job. Everybody did a great job. I seen all the rescues. It was insane. I go, okay, so my wife's at the time is not awake. She has no idea what happened.
Yeah.
So I get home, it's like 9:30 in the morning or whatever. She's like, there's 5 news trucks in front of my house.
When you pull up.
When I pull up.
Well, Bill, I just calculated how fast that girl was falling when you caught her, 26 miles per hour.
It probably seemed right. At the time I was shitting in my pants, so I don't know.
Well, the shitting in your pants, I
crazy
punched
to me
that.
that
I
you're
punched
running
that
this
in,
calculator.
and the
Is it
shitting in your
really?
pants added another 5 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So since
that's
you did
fair.
shit your pants, that's now going to be 31 miles per hour that you were traveling.
Yeah.
The poop.
The poop factor.
So now you're trying to get in your house.
Yeah.
There's news vans all over.
They're all chasing me to my front door. I'm like, listen.
Because this spread like wildfire then, huh?
Dude, it was,
beat you to your house.
It beat me to my house. and I'm like, I got to go check on my family. I'll be out in a minute, whatever. We'll talk, whatever. I go to fire department's on its way. Because I didn't know, at that time, I didn't know what you could say and what you couldn't say. I know there was a media general order
There's
or
no
whatever.
goddamn media team.
Yeah,
And you know.
Well, our policies, we're not allowed to talk to anybody without
Yes.
talking to the media affairs guy first.
Right, correct.
Or you get
I knew something like that,
jammed up.
whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we also have permission to do this podcast. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So-
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So anyway, I go in the house and she's like, "What the hell's going on?" I go, "Well, I made a pretty good rescue, I think, and they want to interview me." She's like, "Are you kidding me?" I go, "No." I go, "They're gonna pick me up in a car at 10 o'clock." So in the meantime, the media vans, they stay there. So the media affairs guy picks me up. He goes, "Don't talk to anybody. We're going straight downtown."
Let's say they're just knocking at your door trying to talk
Oh,
to you.
they're chasing you. They're chasing you with microphones. You know
Because
what I mean?
they want to be the first
They
one to
want
get
to be the
story.
first one.
Here,
This
give
guy.
Billy, give Billy some ice. He's,
So this guy took the
he's getting
videotape
low. Come on, you're better than that.
and he took it to every news outlet. This guy, he went straight from the fire to CBS, NBC. He went to all of them.
hell yeah! And
you
they
ever
paid
talk
top
to that
dollar.
guy?
Yeah, his name is Kenny Hurtowitz.
Kenny Hurtlewitz, I know you're listening.
So
Give us that videotape.
Yes. So he already
Did he make money off that video?
I have no idea.
You
I'm
know
sure
he did.
I'm sure he did. He's a freelancer.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
bro.
just,
He's a nice guy. Quit busting his balls.
I'm not busting his balls. I'm saying, man,
Yeah.
he was out there at 2 o'clock in the morning and captured
Yeah.
this gem of a rescue. And
yeah. I seen
got
him.
paid.
I seen him at fires. After that, he goes, "Dude, you made me famous worldwide." I go, listen, you didn't send a check my way, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
Fuck me though,
we
right?
talked about
I'm just the guy who made the grab.
you were unaware that the New York Post
I was unaware of
printed
it.
your story.
Yeah.
And it wasn't localized just to Chicago. That went everywhere because you went on this whirlwind media tour.
Yeah, it
the
was
commissioner
crazy.
was like, "Hey, we got to do some stuff," and you went on all these radio
'cause
shows. And,
remember the summer before that was a heat wave when all the people died. Remember that?
yeah,
That's
when they're putting them in the semi trucks and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
That's when
'Cause the coroner couldn't-
Yeah, they were
couldn't
trying to
keep up
blame
with the
fire
bodies.
department for whatever. It was crazy, and he goes, "We need some good press, and this is great press," and it was. I mean, they ran with it. Everybody did.
What do you need? You need Jack? What you got?
we got this fancy whiskey here. Why are we?
Oh, he's a
Throw it-
Jack
I
guy.
don't care. Throw it in there. Whatever.
You
Let's
want
go.
it in there? Mix it. It'll
So-
be a nice mixer for you.
Anyway, so we do a bunch of interviews. Everything goes great. I mean, like I said, I did I don't know how many fucking things. It had to be.
So you did all the famous ones. You did Montel Williams. You did all the radio shows. The Spike O'Dell.
Yeah,
and-
Dateline, Discovery
yeah,
Channel,
you were on
Learning
Discovery.
Channel,
Yeah,
all of those.
you were
craziest
literally
videos.
on this whirlwind media tour, and you started getting a little recognition for this.
Yeah, it was. It made us all look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it
Were
was.
you on Oprah?
No, well, that was another story.
What did you diss Oprah?
Kinda.
You did? Oh,
Yeah,
good for you.
somebody called me from her office, and
Good for you, Bill.
I'm like, "Oh, Montel Williams already called me." Well, oh, that was not good. Yeah, that didn't go well.
No,
So anyway, that's
take a
another
little-
story.
I'll
There
take a
were a
little
couple
bit of
guys.
So hold on.
There's
so,
a couple guys on this job that used to work for Oprah.
Yeah, yeah,
well, yeah,
yeah,
there's right down. It was right down the street,
Yeah.
right?
yeah. It was.
Was that part of that? Well, whatever. So,
Oh, look at
You know
that.
what? I'm sorry. Let me interrupt real quick. First off,
Thank you, Rescue One.
Well, no, I would love to thank Rescue One, but first off, they sent us an empty bottle of Eagle Rare Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. I can smell it. It smells really nice.
Does smell real nice.
But it's empty.
Damn you, Rescue One
I'm
CBD.
not sure what that's about. So
Rescue on CBD.
Damn you.
definitely buy their next batch because they probably put bourbon in it.
Yeah.
A really nice bourbon in it.
Use the discount code Chicago's Bravest.
Just Bravest.
Oh, it's just Bravest?
It's just Bravest.
Just Bravest.
Yeah, enter promo code Bravest for 25% off.
Yeah, he hooks it up to all the Chicago's Bravest Stories listeners. So.
It's
If any
pretty
of
good
your-
whiskey too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
And I'm a Jack guy, so this is a pretty good whiskey.
Right.
yeah. Well, after hearing that story, after hearing that you dissed Oprah, you only the best for you, Billy.
I didn't know there was a big beef between Montel Williams and Oprah.
No, it's just a
that's-
beef between those talk shows.
Talk shows, man. It's just the way it was. And I'll tell you something.
They got the hit. Hey, Montel got the hitman.
Yeah, listen,
She didn't.
Montel was very, very good to me.
You say he was a prince,
He's
right?
a prince, dude. He's a prince. I mean, he set me up in New York and flew me there.
Well,
and-
he called you up and he said that his father was
A battalion chief.
a battalion chief in Boston or something
really?
like that.
I
Right?
didn't know
that.
that.
Steve, I had no fucking idea.
Yeah.
Montel Williams, Boston firefighter family.
That's what I was told.
Was Montel Williams a Marine?
Yes.
Yes, I
Was
knew
he
that.
really?
Boom.
He definitely looks like a fucking Marine.
Dude,
Yeah.
he was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome that he took care of you and
So he doesn't
everything.
tell
What
me.
was that like? Yeah.
So he doesn't tell me.
So does he
hold on,
flies
hold
you
on.
out or what?
So he tells me, he flies me. He goes, listen, I'm gonna fly you out here, put you up
Where's his thing at?
in New York.
Okay.
So he puts
I'll
me
get
up,
my own
puts
ice,
me up in
thanks.
Manhattan, down by Manhattan there.
Sorry.
So yeah, it's I mean first class, obviously all the way. So he doesn't tell
They
me.
flew you first class?
I mean, they flew. Everything was first class.
Look at
son
Billy.
of
They're
a
not going to
bitch.
put this guy
So-
in
You
fucking
see them blue
coach.
eyes?
Yeah. So anyway, he
I
goes.
caught a woman, for Christ's sakes.
So I get there and he's like, okay, this is how we're gonna do it. There's gonna be you and two other guests. It's about crazy things that people have done for other people.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. Yeah. So we had a nice conversation. And he doesn't tell me that he found a girl
Stop.
and he brings her on the show.
Yeah.
And I have no idea her and her sister.
And that
are
was
coming
the
out.
first time that you saw this girl since
Yes.
pinning her against the ladder.
Yes. Yes.
And she comes out, he's like, and he does the old, guess what we got for you here?
Yeah, yeah.
And she comes out
and
and-
I had no idea. I'm thinking, there's no way this girl's probably, traumatized from all the bullshit. You know what I mean? I mean, all of a sudden she comes out and she's,
How far after the rescue is this?
you know what? I'm not sure how long it was.
Like a month?
yeah, maybe a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What when she turned the corner and you saw her? What were your emotions like?
Dude, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, because you know what? I can't remember. That night was so crazy. I never really got a good look at her. As much as I had her back to me a lot of times. I never really, when your adrenaline's flying and
Your tunnel vision.
I'm looking up, I'm checking out my possibilities here. What's going to happen? You're not concentrating on
You
the.
think you're going to die.
Yeah.
It's 3 in the morning.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
whole thing.
I never really got a really good look at her because, like I said, she was full of black stuff and from the smoke and whatever, And so that's the first time I got a good look at her. You know what I mean? And
What were you thinking? What's going on in your head?
She come out, give you a hug.
Oh, she ran right to me and gave me
Yeah.
a hug. And I'm like, I met her father and
So explain why the father, like the situation with the father.
So that night, he had worked for, I think it was MCI or AT&T,
Yeah.
one of them, and he was losing his job here. So he either had to take a job in Arizona or he was going to be out of a job because I had met him later, and he explained to me why he wasn't there that night. Because he goes, I'm sorry I wasn't there. I heard you did everything you could for my family. And I go, listen, I'm sorry about your wife. And she's like, yeah. He goes, I was in Arizona trying to find a place to live because we were all transferring down there, the whole family. We were leaving next week.
Oh, my God.
And,
None of this would ever even happen.
yeah, right. He goes, I'm just happy for what you did. I'm like, listen, we did what we could do. And I go, the situation was not good. You know what I mean? And he goes, yeah, I seen a videotape. He goes, I understand. So yeah, so
That's crazy.
Montel, we had a great reunion kind of little thing, and
And this girl had written you. She started writing you Christmas cards and stuff like that
we
for a
stayed
long
in contact
time,
for a
right?
long time. Yeah, I think I lost contact with her. Maybe.
She went to college. She went to Arizona.
Yeah, I think
right?
I think she was going to. She was set up for college when last time I talked to her. She was just starting college. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I think she was 8 at the time when this happened.
She was.
Yeah, and she ended up being taking and becoming pretty good. You know what I mean? I mean, going and end up doing
That's
good.
got to feel good. You saved the girl. She winds up being a successful young lady.
Yeah.
And
none of this
you
happens if you're not working this day.
Yeah. It's just.
And you didn't have that super strong left arm.
Listen.
Is that your bow arm?
That's my drawback.
Is that your drawback? That's why.
Yeah,
That's why.
And here's the thing. The thing about it was just. There's no doubt that the man upstairs was looking down on me.
Absolutely.
And her. I mean, I know her mother didn't make it, but
I don't know how you didn't tear every
Nothing-
ligament in your shoulder,
listen,
your bicep.
nothing should have worked. There's no doubt in my mind. The ladder was wrong.
Nothing was working.
You shouldn't have caught her.
Nothing was working.
No, that should have never happened.
And there was no other place on your body she could have landed for you to catch
Right.
her except right there.
Yeah, and I talked about it later. I said the only spot she could have landed was hitting a ladder and wedging between me and her ladder.
Yeah.
But
that could have taken you right off the ladder. Yeah.
right. Because I wasn't locked in at all.
Yeah.
I was too busy trying to.
Even when you decide to move her and the ladder goes down,
Yeah.
You don't move her.
Yeah, right. Listen,
And that ladder goes down, you drop her right away.
when that ladder slid, I pinned her against the ladder. We stayed in that position for a good 10 minutes before they started to move the ladder.
What-
Because they had to get a bunch of people to push the ladder.
What sucked more, catching her or that ladder moving?
Oh, the ladder moved.
I'll bet.
Hey, listen, the hard part was over. The other part was getting her down. You know what I mean? And then, but people jumping around you. I mean,
Yeah.
and me not remembering her, there was still one more person in the window. You know what I mean? They always say, you got to remember there's always people in the window. Oh, well, by the time 2 other people jump around you, you think, you forget about the fourth person, right?
And you weren't making it to that window.
No, that wasn't happening. Even with people were saying, well, what if you took a stripping ladder up there or a roof ladder and hooked it?
Then what are you going to do?
That's not going to happen.
Who came up with that
What is that
idea?
what is it, a Chicago Fire TV show?
Yeah, I'm
The
thinking.
fucking-
I go, no. I mean,
If you
Papier-
jump,
a
if you
papier
jump at
ladder.
each floor
Yeah.
and you lift up the roof ladder, you climb up, you jump in the other floor, you
Right.
I'm thinking, no, that was. I mean, why didn't you?
It's a jag-off climb just without
Yeah,
anything.
right. And there was no time. I mean, everything happened so fast. I mean, before I knew it, I'm hanging off a ladder. I mean, I was making a hydrant 10 minutes ago. Now I'm
Now
5
you're a
stories
truck
up.
guy.
Yeah, right. On a ladder I shouldn't be on. You know what I mean?
If it's not for you, this girl never moves to Arizona. This girl never goes to college. This girl's going to have a family one day. She's going to have grandkids one day. And none of it happens without you. So,
Well, listen,
salute, buddy.
When I do get to
Salud.
when
Cheers,
I do,
Billy.
When I do get to the pearly gates,
Nice
I will
grab.
definitely bring that up to baby Jesus.
No.
He,
Put in
he
a
owes
good
you
word,
one.
would you?
He owes you one.
Vince needs it.
All right.
Fuck.
Well, let's move on from there because that.
Are you sure? I really need a cigarette break after hearing the story again.
Yeah?
And we can keep going, but
Well, let's take 5 minutes.
all right. Do you want to thank someone real quick on the way out or no?
Who do you want to thank? Thank whoever you want.
Corey's aunts.
Corey's aunts. Thank you.
I'd love to thank my aunts. I'd love to thank Steve for his services. You know what? That's who I want to thank. So, and I'll bring it up again at the end. But I was talking to Steve the other day, and I just want all the listeners to know Steve hates doing merchandise. He hates it. And if anybody could do me a favor, I'll pay for it. If you guys can order as much as you can on our website.
Just make him stuff an envelope, print out
Chicago's Bravest Stories.
yeah.
Do you know what? In fact, do me
I
a
have
favor.
been shipping merchandise to European military bases.
If you
I
could-
didn't even know I could do that.
If you guys could do me a favor, so we've got the Chicago Bravest Stories coin. Buy 7 of these coins, but each an individual order. So Steve has to send it out in different envelopes. Whatever you guys
Right.
could do.
Corey will pay you back.
I will.
Just
I will.
order
I
it.
just
Just
love
order it.
how upset Steve gets.
Yeah.
So do me the favor and fuck Steve.
Right.
So-
Chicago's Bravest Stories.com.
.com.
You go to the merchandise page. Steve, what do we got there?
We got hats.
We got hats.
Like the one I'm wearing?
Vince is wearing the hat right now.
You'll see it on the video.
We got T-shirts. We got
Billy,
limited.
did we give you the camo hat?
Oh yeah, you did.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Good.
Perfect,
You didn't fuck
perfect when
that
you're
up.
hunting with
Yes.
your dumb fucking flag on there.
We
Deer
got
can't
hats.
see flags.
Yeah, we got
Everything's
hats.
science.
We got challenge coins have been very popular. We got the coffee mugs,
Steve,
pint
what did you
glasses.
say about our challenge coins?
they're ginormous.
They're
the
Right.
biggest.
If you want the biggest challenge coin, be the one with the biggest challenge coins on the block.
Yeah, if you're overcompensating,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
definitely want to hammer
Definitely,
hard.
you want to.
We got T-shirts, limited hooded sweatshirts. Some Kevin Casey T-shirts are still out
Those
there.
hoodies are nice.
And then probably soon to be a Hitman shirt.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
listen,
gonna
Kevin
make
Case
those.
is a good man.
He is a good man.
He's no hitman.
Episode number 4.
He's bigger than me, though.
We'll be right back. Chicago's Bravest Stories.
The opinions and views are that of Chicago's Bravest Stories and their guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any municipal governments, fire protection districts, fire departments, EMS, or law enforcement organizations.